Good day. For today, I will be showing the skin model of a thin skin. A thin skin would have 4 layers of cells making up the epidermal layer. So let's talk about the different layers of the skin first. The skin is basically divided into 2 or 3 layers depending on your reference material. So the first layer would be this layer here up to this dark wavy cells here. And that is your epidermis. Next to the epidermis would be the layer from here to this point here, and that would be the dermis. And deep to that would be the third layer, which would be the hypodermis, consisting of adipose cells. Let's take a closer look at the epidermis, which is made up of 4 layers. The lowermost layer of epidermal cells, this one here, is called stratum basale or germinativum. The cells in this stratum are capable of cell division or mitosis. The next layer here are cells that belong to stratum spinosum. It's called spinosum because the cells already assume a spiny shape as they start to become flatter. And if you move more closely, so this is spinosum, this layer here, the cells are a little bit more flatter. This is what you call a stratum granulosum. Just above stratum granulosum would be the uppermost layer of epidermal cells, and this is what you call as stratum corneum. Now let's take a look at the different layers of the dermis. The dermis consists of 2 layers. The layer where you will find this wavy structure here, like finger-like processes. This layer here is what you call as the papillary layer. Right next to the papillary layer, from this layer here, going to this part here, making up the bulk of your dermis, is what you call as the reticular layer. So what are the different glands you will see in the skin? In the skin, you will see here this gland, which is called the sebaceous gland or oil gland. Notice that the sebaceous gland or oil gland empties its secretion into the hair follicles. This is a cross-section of the same gland, cross-section of your sebaceous or oil gland. Another gland is this one here. This is what you call as the eccrine sweat gland. The eccrine sweat gland directly empties its secretion out here in the skin via the skin pores. Other structures that you will see would be this muscle here that is connected to the hair follicle. And this muscle is what you call as the arrector pili muscle. The arrector pili muscle is the one responsible for causing your hair to stand when you are, for example, frightened or nervous, like that. Now let's see what are the different nerve innervations or sensory nerve endings that you will find here. So this small structure here is what you call as Meissner's corpuscle, and this is a touch receptor, meaning this is the one responsible for you when you feel that you are touched by air. So light touch, for example, it would be this receptor here responsible for that. On the other hand, if there is a deep pressure, the receptor responsible for that would be this receptor here found deep into the skin, and this is the Pacinian corpuscle, otherwise referred to as lamellar corpuscle. Now, what are these red and blue structures that you see there. So the red one are the arteries or arterioles, and the blue one are the venules. Also, a closer look here in the dermal papilla, you will see that there are also blood vessels there. Notice that there are no blood vessels found in the epidermis because the epidermis is avascular. In other words, there are no blood vessels there. So how do you know if your injury reached the dermis or it is only up to the epidermis? Well, if you have a scratch and you did not bleed, it only means that the damage is only in the epidermal part of your skin. But if you bled, then it means that it reached the blood vessels that are found in the dermis of your skin. Now let's take a closer look at the hair. So this portion here is what he calls the hair shaft. And the rounded portion here below is what you call as the hair bulb. Notice that there is also a structure here where the blood vessels are found. That's actually the hair papilla. And these are the blood vessels that will provide nourishment to the hair. So what are the different layers of the hair itself? So let's start here. So this is the hair, and the cross section of the hair is shown here. In the middle, this white structure that you see there, that is the medulla. Right next to that would be the hair cortex, and surrounding the hair cortex, responsible for the shiny appearance of the hair, is this yellow structure here, and that is the hair cuticle. After the hair cuticle, you will find protective layers that surrounds or protect the cell. And these are actually, this layer here is what we call as the inner root sheath, this light blue here. This is the external or the outer root sheath. And finally, you have connective tissue that protects the hair. And basically, those are the different parts of the hair.